Bro, this is Vince Russo, and you are listening to SK Wrestling.
Speaking of, WWE, in 2002, you went back briefly to work for them, and you pitched at that time a restart of the WCW invasion angle, but using stars that they didn't use, like Scott Steiner and Goldberg. Unfortunately, it was shot down, and I'm kind of curious, what did you have planned for that angle, and why was it shot down?
Nothing was shot down. Let me explain to you like exactly what happened.
Okay.
I was meeting with Vince in secrecy. Nobody knew.
Okay.
Stephanie was in charge of creative. Stephanie didn't know I was meeting with Vince. Okay. Mm-hmm. Part of my meetings with Vince was this is around 2002 where the product really started to nosedive. Mm-hmm. I laid out all my creative to Vince, and he loved it. He loved it. Vince offered me a contract. We agreed on money and everything else. The deal was done. Mm-hmm. So now, Lee, I say to Vince, okay, bro, how are you going to break this news to the rest of the company? What are you going to do, Vince? Vince said to me, well, I'm not going to break the news to them. There was like a pay-per-view like that weekend. Mm-hmm. And Vince said, you're just going to show up at the pay-per-view, and I'm going to let everybody know that you are now overseeing Raw and SmackDown. Okay? Bro, like, are you serious? Like, we're talking about Heyman's involved in creative. Michael Hayes is involved in creative. And I'm just going to show up and say, hey, guess what, guys? I'm your boss. Like, are you nuts? So I said, no, Vince, I'm not doing that. That's not the right way to do it. Mm-hmm. So Vince said, okay, creative is meeting tomorrow. I want you to stay overnight. I will bring you to the creative meeting, and I will introduce you there. Okay? Mm-hmm. So I said, okay, that's fine. That's not a problem. So a couple of things now. That morning, I had breakfast with Shane McMahon, who was giddy that I was back in the company because they were doing nothing with Shane at the time. Shane was giddy. So now, bro, I'm meeting. Vince brings me to meet with the writers. Now, Lee, you've got to understand, this is 2002. When I left in 1999, there were two writers, me and Ed Ferrara. Mm-hmm. Vince brings me in a room of the writers. Bro, there's 12 people in that room. So immediately, like, my jaw hits the ground. And I was like, how the frig did you go from 2 people to 12? Like, the way it was not broken. So, bro, Vince brings me in that meeting and leaves. Now, you got to understand, bro, I'm not an idiot. Bro, it is safe for me to say, because I wasn't born in the wrestling bubble, and I came from the real world. The fact of the matter is, Lee, I'm a lot smarter than a lot of people in the wrestling bubble, and they think they have one up on you, and it's like they don't even have a clue that you're 10 steps ahead of them. Mm-hmm. So he brings me in this room, and there were a lot of young writers, bro. I didn't know who they were. I didn't know their names or nothing. The only people I knew in that room were Paul Heyman and Michael Hayes.
Okay.
Now, bro, I know I know, okay, Vince, you're going to go in this room and you're going to talk to these 12 people, however many they were, about your ideas for creative. Now, Lee, you have to understand, it's 2002. They're already below a 3 or hovering around the 3. Everybody in that room is failing at their job miserably. So now, bro, I know in my mind, Vince, you're going to lay out a creative plan to them that is going to blow their minds. And the minute you leave and Vince McMahon comes back in this room, they are going to bury you because they know if Vince hires you, there's no need for any of them. None of them, bro. So I'm going in there full well knowing these guys are going to bury me when I'm on the plane on the way back. Mm-hmm. And bro, sure as I'm sitting here, while I'm in the air, Vince McMahon is calling my house. So as soon as I land, my wife says, Vince is trying to call you. I call Vince and he's like, pal, this is not going to work out. And I said, Vince, let me guess why. I said, because the second I left and the second you walked in that room, every single person in that room buried me, right? And he didn't say anything. So, bro, what their main weapon was, they sold Vince on the fact that I hadn't been watching the product. Okay, bro. So I didn't know what was going on at the time. So Vince said to me, well, Vince, they pointed out to me that you haven't been watching the product. And I said, Vince, why would I be watching the product if the product sucked? The reason I'm here is because the product sucked. So why would you expect me to waste my time watching a show that sucks? No, bro, I'm not watching the product. A lot of people aren't watching the product. And I told them in that room, this is why people aren't watching the product, and this is what you need to do. And at that point, bro, like Vince knew I was right. Stephanie, he was also not happy. Vince hired me without her knowing. And that's when Vince had the idea of, well, bro, maybe I'll pay you to be a consultant. We'll ease you in. And at the same time, Jeff was starting up TNA. Mm-hmm. And I called Stephanie that week. I said, Stephanie, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want you reading it on a dirt sheet or anything. I am going to the TNA show and I am going to check it out and I'm going to see what they have to offer. And I went to TNA, and when I came back, I called Stephanie and I said, Stephanie, thank you, but no thanks. I'm going to go work at TNA as the head writer.